Hello there. To begin, any holiday that is celebrated by at least 1 billion people deserves recognition, no matter its form of depiction. Of course, this comes down to the acknowledgement of baby Jesus in the Nativity or Santa on his sleigh. It is sensible to celebrate both aspects of the holiday, but to never forget the true meaning of this celebration. In my family, our nativity, which is dispersed over the top of an old piano, takes in one last guest who arrives in a big red coat bearing a gift. He is not the fourth wise man. His visit is short-lived, but he is wearing his modern clothes and has no reindeer in sight. Traditionally, he could also be wearing his bishop gown and hat, and that is what he wore on in his less magical days. The point being that this is not so much a comment on the age-old war on Christmas debate, but more an argument for geopolitical advantage. An advantage that is only truly clear in the sense of its near global recognition. As strange as it is that Japanese are eating Kentucky Fried Chicken on Christmas, it is nevertheless a product of Western culture that they are acknowledging. Of course, their manga art style is very well accepted in America in video game and comic book form. I would argue it is less coherent and targeted in its messaging, and its cultural relevance is far less in the long term. Aesthetic and entertainment tastes change a lot over time, and can't keep their relevance as long as the most important holiday in the biggest religion on earth in terms of populations of followers or the overall wealth of the Christian majority nations, which I'll come back to later. That is not to say that they don't change. Who knows how we will celebrate Christmas in another 50 or 100 years. Things like the Christmas tree and Santa had to be adopted in at some point, just like the hanging of lights, baking cookies, or mailing Christmas cards. Traditions change. The only questionable variant is whether it is just a natural trend of how any and all holidays would progress this way, or are we witnessing an effort to strip meaning and clarity of the most important holiday and geopolitical carrot of the collective West? Christmas season essentially starts sometime in October as far as the television commercials are concerned. The decorations and lights start coming out in November, but ideally after Thanksgiving. For many, this season starts at the evening of Christmas Day. For many, this season ends the evening of Christmas Day, and the decorations start coming down. Most would probably keep the holiday spirit up, though through the New Year's Day. New Year's Day, of course, is associated with the birth of Jesus once again, and that is a holiday that the entire business world adheres to, as they roll from December 31st on over to January 1st. For many, it can be a time of mild bewilderment as they see the year light up as the Christmas ball as the ball drops, and until Groundhog's Day as they get used to writing the current year when it's called for. Many folks, at the first chance they get after New Year's, begin to take the ornaments down. The Epiphany, which is always around the week after New Year's, is probably where the line is reasonably drawn. Although in my family, we leave the lights on well into February. I would say the season starts at the lighting of the first Advent candle. It's always a purple one. Strangely, when it comes to the music, we seem to have far less of it now. Oh, of course there is an entire genre of music, both religious and secular, which plays around the clock this time of year, most of which was produced in the Victorian era and in the post-World War II era. There was a time when most prominent musicians recorded their own Christmas albums. Now that is very rare. The music we enjoy was mostly produced in the 1940s and 50s. This can broaden into a much larger conversation about the incredible influence of the post-war period. And it is just harder to make a dent in the modern music industry, especially with you competing with music recorded over the last 100 years. I think the truth is a much more diverse culture I think the truth is in a much more diverse culture, which America is trending ever continuously towards. It is too hard to make cultural impacts on any level that can unite us, like it would in those glory days of the mid-20th century. It is admittedly an envy of mine to see a simpler time just outside of my grasp, a time more innocent and prosperous, and a people more united and confident in who they are, and who their people were, and who their people are. What man can be fulfilled and secure who is ashamed and apologetic of his ancestors and the society he inherits? It is time we take the values bestowed upon us and cherish them. We carry on our beliefs and traditions proudly and unapologetically. It is Christmas that wins over cultures, and it is time we wield it with the great enthusiasm as it unites us in times of crisis and reminds the world of the rightful place we hold. There are few instances where capitalism is warranted in its full transition into overdrive, more than the inflating of the Christmas season into proportions that the rest of the world cannot ignore. It is a well-practiced tool of promoting our dominance over global culture, and that takes the form of indulgence. Stressed by the adage that a wealthy society must be a free and happy society, we project our wealth to the world. We do that, but we must not forget who we are, and we must not let the interest of business guide the interests of Western values and democracy and Christianity at large. But, of course, this is the instance where capitalism can come into its full overdrive and project Christmas as the cultural force and weapon that it is. But, of course, in this time, in this season of giving and hope that and peace, that we also carry that on our shoulders, and we live to those standards, especially at this particular moment, seeing what's going on in Israel, knowing that they bombed the very the very birthplace of Jesus in Bethlehem on Christmas Day, no less. This country that's supposedly a friend of ours, and we support as a country, and even collectively, indirectly as the larger West. So, anyway, those are my thoughts, and I want to wish everyone a happy, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.